Good morning. How are you today? I hope you had a good weekend. So today I'm going to talk about FOMO, the fear of missing out. Now, how often do you think you go to something or you do something for the fear of missing out and then you realize, oh, that was not great? So I've just had the most amazing 2 days in London at a Expert Empire, which is the most incredible event. And it was fantastic. 2 days of interaction. It was high energy. It was absolutely brilliant. Amazing speakers, lots of networking. It was just fantastic. But these events can be absolutely full on from like 8 in the morning till, if you want to go party until 3 in the morning, you can do that too. That wasn't me. I needed my sleep. But I think that it just highlighted to me the FOMO thing. Now, the sad thing was, on the last day on Saturday, I had to leave before the end of the last speaker, or I had to leave before the last speaker. I knew he was going to be absolutely amazing. And I was really sad because that was definite FOMO, fear. I knew I was going to miss out on something amazing. However, I had to get a train to get home. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got home on Saturday night. And of course, that was unfortunately had to take priority of actually getting home. But I think it highlighted to me how interesting it is. But actually, when I got on the train, I was really glad I was on the train. And I felt really proud that I'd sort of actually decided to not go to the last session so I could get home, relax, and not worry the fact that if the last train if I'd missed the last train, I'd actually been stranded. So I felt proud of myself, the fact I did electively decide, and actually sadly, so many other people had to do the same thing because of the Saturday trains, that sadly missed out on the last speaker. But how often does it show up in life where we drive ourselves forward for fear of missing out, and yet actually sometimes we just need to take it back and see what actually is important. The other thing that really highlighted me about the FOMO situation was every presentation was completely awesome. Of course, lots of offers, lots of webinars they're offering at follow-up, etc., etc. And again, these things can feel so overwhelmed where suddenly your diary is full of webinar after webinar after webinar, where actually, I think, no, it's way more. This is obviously a business owner. If you're in a corporate, it's much more difficult to fit that in. But they're all evenings, because they know that we're working in the day. And I thought, actually, sometimes we have to elect what is really important. And actually, that is really powerful. So have a look at your calendar coming up and see for this week, see what is essential that you do and what is not essential, because we all go to way too many meetings, and sometimes it's because we need to be there, of course. The other times where I think I should be there, in which case, why are you doing that? Is that people pleasing? Is it, and particularly I work with a lot of clients, senior directors, and say, look at your calendar, because this is an opportunity to build your team. You could actually send one of your team there, or for a few meetings, maybe go with them, so then they can go as your representative. They are growing, they're giving you more space, and therefore your diary is far more manageable. So FOMO shows up in all sorts of situations, and yet we could end finding ourselves running ragged, trying to fit all this stuff in, when in fact, what is the 100% priority? So that's what I'd love you to do today, is have a look at your calendar, see what is important, and see if it's not important, who else can go in your place, or maybe you can wait and have an email summary of the meeting or whatever it is, because otherwise you can just fill your diary back to back and you'll find answering emails at 8 o'clock at night because you haven't had time in the day because you've got back to back. So have a think about how it shows up in the rest of your life. Because how we do anything is how we do everything. So if it shows up in a meeting, it's going to show up at home, it's going to show up at work, it's going to show up in all aspects of your life. And that's something I have to be really aware of. I love the shiny stuff. I love the kind of, oh God, do this, this, and this, and this. And then I realized, actually, that doesn't always serve us. Let's focus on what really matters, the one thing that really matters, and either ditch it or delegate the other stuff. So have a great day, look after yourself, and take care. Bye-bye.